Picture this. It's 2014. A gold Cadillac pulls into a McDonald's drive-thru in Omaha, Nebraska. The man driving is 84 years old. He's wearing a worn-out suit, and as he pulls up to the speaker, he does something strange. He checks the stock market. If the market is down, he orders 2 sausage patties for $2.61. He passes on the cheese, but if the market is up, he splurges on the bacon, egg, and cheese biscuit for $3.17. That man is Warren Buffett. At the time, he was worth over $60 billion. Yet, he was letting the stock market decide if he could afford an extra 50 cents for breakfast. Now, you might think, that's ridiculous. That's just being cheap. But you'd be missing the point. Most of us do the exact opposite. We feel poor, so we buy things to feel rich. Buffett is rich, so he doesn't care if he looks poor. He has spent decades warning people that it's not always your income that keeps you stuck. It's the leaks in your bucket. He has identified 7 specific money traps that destroy wealth faster than you can build it. Some are obvious, but the most dangerous ones are psychological. Traps you don't even know you're walking into. Let's start with the trap that Buffett says makes it mathematically impossible for you to get rich. Number 1, the reverse wealth engine. A few years ago, a woman went to a shareholder meeting and asked Warren for advice. She said, "Warren, I just came into a little bit of money. Not a lot, but enough. What stock should I buy?" Most financial gurus would have given her a hot stock tip or told her to buy an index fund. Buffett didn't do that. He asked her a question back. "Do you have any credit card debt?" She nodded. She had a balance that she was paying about 18% interest on. Buffett looked at her and said something profound in its simplicity. "If I owed any money at 18%, the first thing I'd do with any money I had would be to pay it off. It's going to be way better than any investment idea I've got." Think about that. The greatest investor in history, the Oracle of Omaha, admitted that he doesn't know how to beat 18%. This is what I call the reverse wealth engine. The stock market, on a good average run, gives you about 10% a year. If your credit card is charging you 18% or 20%, you are mathematically guaranteed to lose. You're swimming upstream with a backpack full of rocks. Buffett put it bluntly. You can't go through life borrowing money at those rates and be better off. Many people try to look like investors before they've stopped being borrowers. They buy $500 of Apple stock while carrying a $5,000 balance on their Visa. Buffett's warning is clear. Kill the debt first. It's the only investment that guarantees you an instant, risk-free return equal to your interest rate. But once you plug that hole, you run into the next trap. And this one is tricky because it tricks you into confusing the price tag with the value. Number 2, the brand name trap, price versus value. If you had $100 billion, where would you live? A private island? A penthouse in New York? Warren Buffett lives in a house in Omaha that he bought in 1958. He paid $31,500 for it. He has lived there for over 60 years. No walls, no security guards with machine guns, just a regular house. Why? Because Buffett understands the difference between price and value. He has a famous saying, "Price is what you pay, value is what you get." This is where most people get trapped. We are obsessed with the price tag. We think that if a car costs $80,000, it must be better than the one that costs $30,000. We think a designer shirt is valuable because it has a logo on it. Buffett warns that buying status is the quickest way to the poorhouse. When you buy a luxury brand just for the brand's sake, you are paying for the company's marketing, not the product's quality. You are transferring your wealth to them just to impress strangers who don't care about you. Buffett drives his cars until they literally fall apart. He once told a story about how his daughter had to force him to buy a new car because his old one was embarrassing. He didn't care. The old car got him from point A to point B. The value was the utility, not the status. The trap is thinking that expensive things make you valuable. Buffett knows that true value comes from assets that pay you, not liabilities that drain you. And speaking of assets, there is one specific asset Buffett says is more important than real estate, stocks, or gold. And the best part? The government can't tax it. Number 3, the ultimate asset. Inside Warren Buffett's office, there's only one diploma hanging on the wall. It's not from the University of Nebraska. It's not from Columbia Business School. It's from a $100 public speaking course he took in his early 20s. Because back then, he was terrified to speak speak in front of people, as in physically ill from stage fright. He says that diploma changed his life more than any degree, stock pick, or strategy ever did. Why? Because Buffett believes the biggest return on investment comes not from money, but from you, your ability to communicate, to think better, to make decisions under pressure. He says it clearly. The best investment you can make is in yourself. Anything you do to develop your own abilities is likely to pay off in ways we can't even predict. We spend tens of thousands of dollars learning formulas, paying off degrees, or memorizing job skills that expire in 5 years. Meanwhile, skills like public speaking, writing clearly, negotiating, critical thinking, they quietly compound for a lifetime. Buffett even said that improving his communication skills increased his net worth by at least 50%. Think about that. No stock in the world can do that. And yet, it's one of the most neglected areas of people's lives. Why? Because there's no instant payback. It doesn't look like wealth until it unlocks it. So while most chase paychecks, Buffett built the machine that prints the checks. But even if you have great skills, if you let the wrong habits creep in, they can eat your potential alive. And that's exactly where the next trap comes in. Number 4, the toys and the peer pressure. We live in an era where everyone is broadcasting their highlight reel. You scroll through your phone and see people your age buying boats, traveling to Dubai, and driving Lamborghinis. It triggers a deep biological urge to keep up. But Warren Buffett calls this the outer scorecard, and living by it is the fastest way to misery and poverty. Buffett explains it with a simple question he asks people. Would you rather be the world's greatest lover, but have everyone think you're the world's worst lover? Or, would you rather be the world's worst lover, but have everyone think you're the world's greatest? It sounds funny, but it's a serious test. If you choose the second option, where you're terrible but look great, you're living by an outer scorecard. You're letting other people dictate your life. This is why people buy houses they can't afford, cars they can't maintain, and toys that gather dust. They are trying to improve their outer scorecard. Buffett, despite being a billionaire, lives by an inner scorecard. He knows he's good at investing. He knows he's a good person. He doesn't need a 200-foot yacht to prove it to you. He calls his birth the ovarian lottery. He knows he got lucky to be born in America at a time when capital allocation was rewarded. He doesn't feel the need to flaunt that luck. When you stop trying to impress people who don't matter, your expenses drop dramatically. You stop buying toys. You stop upgrading your phone every year. You realize that wealth is what you don't see. It's the money you didn't spend. But there is a trap even more dangerous than spending money on toys. It's the trap of trying to make money too fast. Number 5, the gambling mentality. In a world obsessed with 100 times crypto gains and overnight millionaires, Warren Buffett is boring, painfully boring, and he loves it. He warns that the desire for easy money is the single biggest reason smart people go broke. It's the gambling mentality. In 2007, Buffett made $1 million bet that proves this. He bet against the smartest, highest paid hedge fund managers in the world. These guys had supercomputers, insider info, and complex algorithms. They charged massive fees because they promised to beat the market. Buffett simply bought a boring S&P 500 index fund, and then he did nothing. For 10 years, the hedge funds tried to be clever. They jumped in and out of stocks. They panicked during crashes. They got greedy during booms. The result? Buffett crushed them. His boring index fund returned 125%. The smart hedge funds, only 36%. Buffett's lesson is brutal. The stock market is a device for transferring money from the impatient to the patient. When you try to get rich quick, you are gambling, not investing. You are competing against machines and algorithms designed to take your money. True wealth is like growing a tree. You plant it, you water it, and you wait. You don't dig it up every day to check if the roots are growing. But while patience protects your money, there is one thing that protects your ability to make money. And if you ruin this next thing, no amount of cash can save you. Number 6, drinking and bad habits. Imagine I offered to buy you the car of your dreams. Any car you want, a Ferrari, a Rolls-Royce, a vintage Mustang. It's yours for free. But there is one catch. This is the only car you will ever get for the rest of your life. If you knew that, how would you treat it? Buffett says you would read the manual 5 times before you even turned the key. You would keep it in the garage. If it got a tiny scratch, you'd fix it immediately. You would treat that car like it was made of glass because you know it has to last you 40, 50, maybe 60 years. Buffett's warning is simple. You only get one mind and one body. You can't trade them in at age 50 because you're tired of them. Yet, look at how most people treat their vehicle. They pour sugar in the gas tank. They skip maintenance. They drive it into the ground. Buffett warns that bad habits, excessive drinking, smoking, neglecting your health, are the ultimate wealth destroyers. Not just because they cost money to buy, but because they destroy your earning power. If your brain is foggy from a hangover, you can't make good decisions. If your body fails you at 55, compound interest can't save you. Now sure, Buffett loves his hamburgers and cherry Coke. He's not a health nut, but he avoids the destructive habits that shorten lifespans and cloud judgment. He protects the engine, because if the engine dies, it doesn't matter how much gas money you have in the tank. And speaking of gas in the tank, there is one final trap. It's the mistake that ruins people who thought they were doing everything right. Number 7, not having oxygen. Right now, Warren Buffett's company, Berkshire Hathaway, holds over $100 billion in cash. Wall Street hates this. Analysts are constantly yelling, "Warren, why is that money sitting there doing nothing? Inflation is eating it. You're losing money." Buffett ignores them. He has a different way of looking at cash. He doesn't see it as an investment. He sees it as oxygen. He says, cash to a business is like oxygen to an individual, never thought about when it is present, the only thing in mind when it is absent. When the economy is booming, debt is cheap, and jobs are easy to get, nobody thinks about cash. It feels like a waste. But when the storm comes, and the storm always comes, cash is the only thing that matters. In 2008, when the entire financial world was collapsing, companies like Goldman Sachs and General Electric were suffocating. They had no oxygen. Who did they call? They called Warren Buffett. Because he had the cash, he was able to make deals that made him billions of dollars, while everyone else was selling their assets for pennies just to survive. The trap for the average person is running too lean, investing every single dollar, living paycheck to paycheck. Buffett warns that if you don't have a cash reserve, an emergency fund, you are fragile. Cash buys you the freedom to sleep at night. So don't despise the money sitting in your savings account earning low interest. It's not there to make you rich. It's there to keep you from going broke. Now, we've covered the 7 traps, but there is one final secret to tying this all together. Warren Buffett's biography is titled The Snowball for a reason. He didn't build his fortune by being the smartest guy in the room. He built it by finding a wet hill and a long slope. He avoided debt. He ignored brand names. He invested in his skills. He lived by his inner scorecard. He refused to gamble. He protected his health. And he always kept extra oxygen. Here is the craziest stat of all. 99% of Warren Buffett's wealth was earned after his 50th birthday. That is the power of compounding. But compounding only works if you don't interrupt it. So stop trying to get rich next Tuesday. Start building your snowball today. If you want to add more snow to your hill, hit that subscribe button. We'll see you in the next one.